Okay, we'll call this video a presentation on the Launchpad hardware, and we'll look at how to set up the software to make it function. So as we discussed in class, this is the microcontroller. It's a 16-bit CPU. We have a couple of push buttons on board that we can press to test our programs. We have a couple of lights as well. We have a red light and a green light. Beyond that, we have I/O connectors, input-output connectors, so we can connect external devices and make things operate. So the idea behind using this controller is to give us a platform to work from that we can use to control equipment. So in a way, it's like a programmable logic controller. It's like a PLC, but it doesn't run the same type of software. So let's look at the software. When you open the Energia program, we have a blank screen. It gives a default file name of sketch with a date. So let's change that name. We'll do a save as. Let's change it to something that we like. And I'm going to save it to my flash drive so I can keep track of my files. I'm going to call this intro 1. So what I'll do is, just to be on the safe side, I'll close this and I'll open it again. So I want to make sure that I open the right file and that it's pointing to the right location. Okay, so now I feel good about that. So there's a lot of details, just like with any software. The simplest way to start is let's set up the green light, the onboard green light, as an output, and let's turn it on. So in the setup procedure, we have to define the hardware, whether it's inputs or outputs. So pin mode is the instruction that we use for that. So pin mode, the green LED is called green LED. And we'll make it an output. I have to do this, or otherwise the hardware doesn't know what to do. So everything has to be explained to it. So while we're there, let's do pin mode red LED output as well. Okay. So if I check my work, I can verify it here. I'll check it. I'll let it compile the sketch, and it should give me some feedback here at the bottom. So while it's doing that, we'll look at the hardware again. So again, here's the red LED, and here's the green LED. I'm just setting those up to work as outputs. The next thing I'll do is I'll turn them on, and we can watch them run. I think I can leave the camera up there. Yes. So what I'm looking for is this white text. The white text tells me everything's okay. If I get red letters or orange letters, there's something wrong and I have to fix it. Also, before we get too far into this, you might go to Preferences and turn on line numbers. Okay, the default is no line numbers, and let me show you what that looks like. Looks like that. If I turn on line numbers, at least I know which line the problems are on, because it's going to tell me down here. Let me put a problem in there, and I'll compile it. I'll bring this back up while we're waiting. Okay, so here's a problem. Tells me the problem is on this line, but it's really on this line because that messes up the software. So let me get rid of that. And rather than compiling it again, I'll just keep going. So let's put an instruction in here that will turn on the green light. It's the digital write instruction. Okay. And I tell it the name of the pen, and I'll tell it true. So true is a 1, an on condition. So let's go ahead and upload that. I know it's probably going to work. So let me plug in the hardware. There's a small green light. It's a little hard to see, but there's a little green light right here, which is the power light. This is running a program from last week, so it's blinking. Let's go ahead and check make sure the board is correct. It is. The COM port is okay. Let's do an upload. So it will compile the program and do an upload to the card. So an upload, you'll see the lights blinking again, telling you that it's transferring the file. Okay, well, a little typo there. Typos are easy to make. Okay, so it's good. It's sending it over. You can see the lights blinking. It's running. One thing I'll say right now is that sometimes while I'm hooked up to the computer, it would rather communicate than to run. So I may have to press the reset button, and then we see the green light turn on. So if it looks like it's not working, it's probably just needing a reset. If you disconnect it from the computer and run it on a cell phone charger, you get your 5 volts, you get your USB connector, and it runs as soon as power is applied. So it works better on its own. Okay, so that's good. Let's add an instruction to turn on the red light. Okay, let's upload that. So I think what we'll do is we'll bring in the push buttons so you can see how switches are connected to outputs, and maybe throw in some timer, a little bit of time delays, and let's reset it. Now we have 2 lights. So let's bring in the push buttons, the switches. So right here I will create an instruction called pin mode push 1. Push 1 is the name of push button 1, which is the one on the left here. So push 1, it's an input, but it's an input with a pull-up resistor. So I have to tell it input pull-up, and I'll paste that and change it to 2. Push 1, push 2. Okay, that gets me ready. So what I'll do is I'll scroll up to the very top. I would like to create some variables. So let's create a variable called PB1, push button 1, and a Boolean variable, which is a bit variable, called PB2. And we'll make them both false. So down here in the program, I'll have an instruction called PB1 equals, and I'll invert. Let me explain why. These switches, push 1 and push 2, they connect the pins to ground. So what that does is it pulls the pin low when you press the switch. So I press the switch, it grounds the pin. So that's fine, except that when I press a button with switch, I normally think it's going to turn on, not turn off. So this exclamation point inverts that and makes it turn on when I press it. So let me type. Okay, so that will read in the value of push 1. and this will read in the value of push 2. Copy and paste helps speed things along quite a bit, so I like to do that. So what this does is, in the main loop, I read the switch values, and I need to do something with it. So let's do something simple. We'll make green LED respond to PB1. PB1 is either true or false. PB2 is either true or false. So let's upload that and try it out. So now push 1 should turn on the red light. Oh no, the green light. Push 2 is connected to the red. So they're sort of crisscrossed. So let's try it that way, and then I'll flip it around and make it work the other way. Okay, I'm going to reset it. So let's hold down the push button, and we get the green light. Hold down this one, we get the red light. And that's sort of weird, so let's fix that. We'll put a 2 here and a 1 on this one. And let's upload that. Now they're sort of next to the LEDs, so I like that better. So, you know, we're just starting to understand the software here. This is very basic. Pin definitions, some variables. The main loop executes continuously, so I don't really need to tell it to do anything special. I can add state variable names. We can get more sophisticated with it later. Let's add just one more thing. Let's add some and or logic to it. So let's create another variable called and logic, and we'll make one called or logic. Okay, and or. So down here we're going to say and logic equals PB1 and PB2, or logic equals PB1 or PB2. So these symbols are Boolean operators, and you can find them in the reference manual. Everything I'm doing is in the reference manual. It wouldn't hurt to just look through that, you know, spend some time each day browsing through it. The only way to learn all these instructions is to just spend a little time looking at them. You know, as you need an instruction, you can find it. There's almost always a way to make something work if you look long enough. So on the green, let's let that equal to the AND logic. So green is if I press both switches. Red is if I press one or the other. Okay, so let's try that. And I'm almost out of time on my video, so I'm going to probably wrap it up at this point. We can throw in a time delay and make it do something with that. Okay, there we go. So I'll press one switch and I get red. If I press this one, I get hopefully red. That's this or that. If I press them both, I should get red and green, because green is both, red is either one, so red is either one, green is both. So there we go, some basic logic, some variable names, a little bit of everything here. So let's throw a timer in here. And I guess let's do this. Let's say after we, I'm not sure what to put in there. Let's just put a delay at the front end of it here. No, I don't want to do that either. I'm almost out of time. Let's do just something, we'll save it for some other time. There's no sense rushing into this. So the best way to learn how to do this is to try it. You can't really break anything. We can use the lights on board to do quite a bit, get a feel for how it works. And so that concludes this video. We'll try some other ones next time.